This episode is going to be something that I'll release shortly, and it's a quarterly maintenance, but I'm just going to share a lot of the things that I do starting every quarter to just declutter my life and feel more organized, not just like mentally, but physically, digitally, spiritually. There's a lot of baggage that we carry through every single quarter because each season has a very different energy. Different things happen in every season. And I think it's important to just have a little bit of a reset, more than just like that Sunday reset. Like we're having a true like big reset to be able to start the next quarter with clarity. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the 20s Detox. I'm Bianca, your host, where we dive into all the things that I'm learning and unlearning in my 20s to elevate this decade. Before we get into this episode, make sure to share it with a friend if you resonate with any of the topics I share today in this episode. Also, follow along either on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, because that way you can stay up to date with any future episodes. I post an episode every single Tuesday relating to advice in your 20s, but also seasonal guidance. And lastly, if you have been listening for a while, don't forget to rate the podcast. It helps me out a lot, and I love seeing every single comment, rate. I've been doing this podcast for about like 3 years now, and all of a sudden it's getting more attention, which is making me really happy. And I love to be able to connect with you guys and just feel like really in tune with the topics that I would like to share. If you have a lot of old energy or things that are not supporting you, or just like a lack of clarity in general of where you would like to go, then the next quarter can be really stressful and you can get overwhelmed. So one of the first things I do is especially since I have my new place, this is really exciting, but even if you don't, think about like your bedroom, okay? And we are going to decorate to align with this next quarter. Every single quarter, it's very pivotal, whether or not you want to live seasonally. The energies and anything that you believe in. If it's astrology, that's shifting. If it's nature, that is shifting. If you want to live by more fiscal quarters, that's shifting. Even with business and employment, all of this is like really changing throughout the year. Even if we're not paying attention to it, we're feeling it in here. And the way that we can really get excited for this fresh start is to like change the way it looks. I mentioned in one of my episodes that winter is a season that we really tend to not decorate for. Like we have Christmas and then we get rid of all of our winter decorations and just leave it really bland. So no wonder a lot of us feel like down and unmotivated. It's like our environment is not really inspiring us in any way. And what I like to think about spring is very like fresh energy. I love to have so many flowers. Like I never want to go a moment without having flowers on my kitchen table so that it's bringing this like spring energy. And I just think about spring, I think about like tulips. But if you don't like tulips, then you can do other flowers. Spring kind of gives the more like polished flower look. I went shopping recently and got myself some flowers. I do it often. I get myself my own flowers. And every single time, as you know, the ladies at the cashier are supposed to do, they ask like, can I wrap your flowers for you? And I was like, no, like they're gonna go right in a vase when I get home. Don't even worry. And every single time they're like, wait, you're getting them for yourself? And then I looked at them and I'd be like, yeah, like you don't do that. Are girls not getting flowers for themselves? Yeah, so ladies, get yourself some flowers. You don't need to wait for somebody to get them for you. I do it all the time. I also want to look up this word because before I say it, I don't want to butcher it. I think it's a German. Lüften. Okay, there we go. Lüften. Another thing that I do, I have been doing it in the winter, but there have been days when it feels like -20. So I can't do it very often, and it's because it just gets way too cold. My plants hate it. I don't love it. And then like I have to spend a few more hours like reheating up my apartment, which costs money. So I don't do it very often, even in the winter. But in the spring, this is like the perfect time to do it. And it's a German word called lüften. It is a practice of airing out homes by opening windows wide for about 5 to 10 minutes. And this is just gonna cleanse any stale air. In the winter time, it's very, very dry. We're not actually getting enough air, fresh air, and it can bring a lot of brain fog, lack of clarity, mood will go down. So as it was getting a little bit warmer, and what I mean by that is not minus 20, more like minus 15, minus 10 Celsius, I have been opening up my screen door and my window to bring in fresh air. This smell of fresh air, doesn't that just boost your mood? I love smelling fresh air, and I know a lot of us either work from home or we're in an office job. We're not getting fresh air on a day-to-day basis because of us needing to work. And so I find that it's a really good way for me to have a new tradition for spring of every single day I'm gonna have at least 10 minutes where I open up all my windows, my door, and let fresh air in. It brings this element of the spring fresh air. All of us smell it. We smell the earth waking up in some way. It smells so great. It's making us so excited for the warmer months. Okay, I think you kind of get the message of decorating your place. That also just goes for getting excited for the new season, doing something in the season. I also will begin to get my garden ready. Think of a hobby or intentional thing that you could do for that next quarter. In the wintertime, I know that a lot of people don't like the winter because they don't have a lot of winter hobbies. I love the winter because I'm able to go cross-country skiing. I'm able to go downhill skiing. My boyfriend loves to skate, and there's tobogganing, there's tubing. It makes it more enjoyable when you have something to do that you would only really do during those seasons. Another thing that is so important is purging. On the more physical environment standpoint, we all talk about spring cleaning. Spring cleaning is something that a lot of people do every year, but I like to do more of a purge every quarter because I said, there are different things that we might accumulate over the quarter. The winter season, things are just a little bit more dirty because we have snow and our winter boots, and there's so many thick sweaters and coats and snow pants and snow gear. There's less room in the wintertime. So by springtime, I like to get rid of a bulk of those things, either put them into storage, or if they're, not really needed anymore, then I will donate, give it away. I would just look through your space and see what you can discard. When we go into a new quarter, we have a new intention, especially if you're living seasonally and you're following the guide I've written about aligning your life with the seasons. Spring is a time of taking really bold and massive action. Next week, I'm going to be getting more deep into that, so make sure you stay tuned for it. When you are taking really bold, big action, you want to make sure the space around you is supporting that idea. The winter time, it was more turning inward and getting cozy. So everything around you was giving off a really cozy vibe. It was encouraging people to get into their sweatpants and get all cozy with a blanket. Springtime is not that. We're going to get rid of some of those elements and bring up a more fresh, clean, minimal environment so that you can have the clarity to be more bold, whereas the summertime can have a different element, and fall, etc. That is why I think to decorate as well as purge is so important to do every single quarter, so that the environment that you are creating, what is around you, is going to support with better ease to get that done. For the spiritual people, when you clean your place with salt, it's very, very powerful at clearing that energy. I haven't done this yet, but I have a friend who is literally, salt is so important. I have a little shot glass of salt next to my bedside table so that it's helping me sleep better, which it is. Please don't sign off. It's more spiritual stuff. But yes, you can clean your space with salt, and put a little bit of salt into your cleaner and clean the whole space with salt. It's very good at clearing the energy from the last quarter. And that also can be really, really important. Like noticing how, I don't know, if anybody walked into your home. I have a lot of houseplants. And so when I notice that there's something off happening with my houseplants, like your houseplants absorb a lot of energy to like protect you. And so I think in honor of them and myself, I like to clean my space every quarter with salt, or like clean it well energetically, so that fresh start. So that's a bit more of a spiritual one. Another way to clean is like digitally, like every single quarter, maybe going through the last like few months of photos, minimizing them. If you have less space, put them onto a hard drive or a SanDisk, an SD card. That way you're not scrambling through probably the worst times trying to like take a photo or download something when you need to download it or upload something. So that at least will give you some digital cleansing. And another thing that I do is I look through all of my subscriptions on YouTube, on Instagram, I don't have TikTok anymore because I don't like who has bought it. I have Instagram and YouTube mainly that I use, those two. And so I'm going to look through and really see, do the people that I am following align with me with where I want to go? If they don't, then I'm going to unfollow, unsubscribe. I don't need that energy. And so it's going to open up this space for new people. And also, like, because I live so seasonally, I know that certain creators are going to be even more, like some of them are for more like seasonal content. Like in the winter time, in the fall time, when I'm like getting super like cozy and like soft living, I naturally am gravitating towards more of those creators. Whereas in the spring and summer months, that's when my energy is picking up. I am following certain fitness people and productive goal setting people, personal development. And it's also why I like to rotate my books around. I'm finishing a fantasy like obsession in the last 3 months for winter. And so spring comes along and I have this new desire for personal development. And like, I want to make sure that the books that are on my table, on my bedside, things that I see is easily accessible for me to do that. Or if you want to get back into your yoga practice, you keep your yoga mat out. All of these things are to make it easier to shift into this new season, this new quarter. Another thing that I do, without a doubt, I've always done this, is regarding finances. I check my net worth. Your net worth is going to be brutally honest with you with your cash flow, not like the budgeting that you do all the time. It's like your net worth. And what you'll be pleasantly surprised is more often than not, your net worth will go up. It will go up just slightly. And I think it's a really nice refresher to maybe those who are a bit stressed with their budgeting on a monthly basis or a weekly basis, because it can be a little bit tough to face your bank account. It's struggling times within the economy. And so it's not easy to face it. But when you see your net worth and you see how you're maybe chipping away at your student debt, or finally almost there paying off your car, or everything is kind of rebalancing itself, you are able to step back and pat yourself in the back, being like, okay, even though I felt like in these last 3 months it was a bit chaotic, to see it right in front of me, it gives me some peace of mind and also reminds you of the long game, the long-term game within the next year or the next 5 years of you staying on track with paying off these investments, or paying off your home, or, you know, still having your net worth look okay despite having a rent increase, because that just like gives you some peace of mind. On the other hand, it can also demonstrate how your expenses are overdoing it, or you overdid it in the last month, last quarter. And so it can allow you to tighten a little bit of things there, cancel some subscriptions that you have. It makes you feel really good when you know that you finally got to something that you've been putting off for a long time. And I know that is finances. Just looking at it, putting the numbers together, finally getting rid of those subscriptions, maybe finally giving that investment advisor a call so you can set up a tax-free savings account or set up an RSP. Like being able to just say like, I did it. So if I do none of it for the next quarter, at least I know I'm going to come back to it in a quarter. It will make you feel so much better, I promise you. A few last things here regarding to health. For health, I've reached a stage within my mental health that I don't need to go see my therapist on a monthly basis. I started weekly, and then I went to bi-weekly, and then I went to monthly. And now I feel like I'm at a point where I don't need to do it more than once a quarter. I do, however, strongly encourage people, regardless if you feel like you're good, to go and see a therapist. The reason why they work is because they are going to slowly get into those subconscious barriers that you have that you don't know. I find that it always keeps me on the right track with my mental health. I'd rather be proactive and talk to my therapist and just be like, this is what I'm going at now. I want to make sure that I'm feeling good for this next quarter, and anything that we can talk about that's still there, I just want to get off my chest so that I can move through it in the next 3 months. Otherwise, yeah, I don't really feel like I need to go and see my therapist all the time anymore. And another thing that I really, really want to do is I do see a naturopath. I don't go to her as often as I would like. And I think starting every quarter, I'd like to go see my naturopath, because I find, especially in Canada, where the doctors are very spread thin, it's difficult to be able to get enough one-on-one time with the care that I need. And I just want to make sure that I'm staying on top of a lot of things that are important to me health-wise. So having that checkup, for me, just talking to my naturopath and kind of going over some of the symptoms that I might have, or some things that I would like to improve. For example, like when you're in your 20s, we should not have low libido, low energy. Pay attention to, if you have a uterus, your menstrual symptoms. What is happening during your menstrual cycle? Please don't overlook it. Cramps are actually not normal. They shouldn't happen. And so to be able to talk to somebody about these things allows me to make sure I'm putting my health first. Like my health is my priority here. Another thing with like fitness, like in the winter time, we're eating more comfort foods. They're more high in calories because of the cold outside. And because of that, it's better to have less cardio, less like intense vigor, but more slow movements and heavier weights to be able to like bulk up and get strong. I have a personal trainer that was telling me about this. She's like Polish, and she is just like super intentional with those things, and expressing how you need to pay attention to the seasons outside and how that might affect your fitness routine. So every single quarter, I like to update my fitness routine, whether or not it's just to stay more aligned with the seasons, or because I've been recovering for an injury, I like to just take note of the exercises and routines that are working for me and whether or not I need to update them. However, sticking to something for 90 days, the same routine, is going to give you a lot more results than just like going for like random things on a weekly basis. Like I like to stick to a routine and a schedule. Having routine is so important, especially in times of instability, because it gives you that sense of familiarity to get through things, and like it's a break on your willpower and your nervous system because you know what to expect. And also fitness is just like so important for you. So important. Even getting steps in the day, movement, it's an important part for our health. And last but not least, checking what foods are going to become in season. Very soon, we're going to have an abundance of so many fresh foods and vegetables, fruits and vegetables as the warmer months come in Canada. I love paying attention to what foods are in season around me so that I can adapt my cooking. I can make sure that the foods that I'm having, not only are they at their best nutrition-wise, because it's when they're most optimal to grow, they're also the cheapest they're going to be that year, and also have the lowest, for the most part, the lowest impact on the environment. It's just good to pay attention to the foods that are in season. This whole winter, I've been having leeks like nobody's business. I love leeks, and they're just like so amazing in the winter season. They're just so great. They're mainly in season in January and February where I live in Canada. And because of that, you'll notice like the leeks are huge and they taste incredible. All the citrus fruits are in season. And if you think about it, things are in season for a reason. Our immune system is really affected in the winter and fall, specifically the winter because of the lack of vitamin D. It's cold and flu season. What is the best thing for that is vitamin C. So it's really amazing how nature helps us out like that. And in the summertime, when it's really hot and we're sweating a lot, we're losing a lot of hydration, no wonder the fruits that are highest in water count are those that are in season, like watermelon, all the melons. So yeah, it's really special. I love it. I love to pay attention to that. It makes me feel a lot more connected with the earth. Yeah, so to summarize, decorate for the season ahead. Make sure the space around you is going to align with the version you want to be in the next 90 days. Also purge things, or at least rotate through a lot of things that are in your space. So once again, it aligns with the version you want to be. Spiritually, more like spiritual woo-woo stuff is you can clean your space with salt because it's like very, very great at cleansing the energy around you. I also like to even more use like some incense sage to clean my space, intentions going ahead. One of the things, especially in springtime, because of where I live in a colder space, is practice lüften, which is German for just airing out your space. The concept of airing out your space, cleansing that stale energy. It's also going to clear your space around you, give yourself more energy and clarity going forward. Finances, calculating your net worth, going through your subscriptions, just making sure that you had a moment to look at the numbers that are there. Because when you are courageous enough to look at the numbers, you will start to gradually open that space for more abundance. And health-wise, scheduling some of my quarterly checkups, like with my therapist, with my naturopath. You can do other things like seeing a chiropractor or whatever you believe in, an acupuncture, those things. So if you don't get to them on a regular basis, or you can't afford them, like, to be honest, if you can't afford it, then at least when you do it 4 times a year, you calculate it. And I'm like, I can afford it 4 times a year. That's great. A massage therapist appointment, all of that stuff. Figure out what you can afford there and what you find is worth it for you. And it's a really great way of treating yourself, making sure you're prioritizing your health and your well-being. Yeah, that's so great. So important. And then fitness-wise, just making sure that you are potentially adapting your routine to align with the season ahead or whatever needs you need at that point. And then also just paying attention to the seasonal foods. That's what I kind of like to do every quarter. I hope that you kind of resonated with a few things, and please let me know in the comments what you're excited about in spring. And I'm just like so excited for all of you guys to be excited with me. Like, spring is here, it's warmer. I love winter, but I also love every single season and I want to maximize it. So actually, you know what you guys can do? Comment down below what you're going to do, because I need a little bit more ideas on making your space, either your bedroom or your home, give more like spring energy. So I'm looking forward to those. I appreciate you guys all for listening. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next Tuesday.